Now we come to Module 5, Pricing and Support. How you consume AWS services can be greatly influenced by understanding how pricing on the AWS platform is done. And as you shift more and more production workload on AWS, you need to know which support level is suitable for your needs. Briefly, these are 4 areas we will touch on in this section: fundamentals of pricing, pricing details, overview of the total cost of ownership calculator, overview of AWS support plans. First up, fundamentals of pricing. AWS offers a range of cloud computing services. For each service, you pay for exactly the amount of resources you actually need. This utility-style pricing model includes pay-as-you-go, pay less when you reserve, pay even less per unit by using more, pay even less as AWS grows. Let's take a closer look at these core concepts of pricing. Unless you are in the business of building data centers, you have probably spent too much time and money doing just that. With AWS, you no longer need to dedicate valuable resources to build costly infrastructure, including purchasing servers, software licenses, or leasing facilities. With AWS, you can replace large upfront expenses with lower variable costs and pay only for what you use and for as long as you need it. All AWS services are available on demand and require no long-term contracts and have no complex licensing dependencies. Pay-as-you-go pricing allows you to easily adapt to changing business needs without overcommitting budgets and improving your responsiveness to changes. With a pay-as-you-go model, you can adapt your business depending on need and not on forecasts, reducing the risk of over-provisioning or missing capacity. By paying for services on a need basis, you can redirect your focus to innovation and invention, reducing procurement complexities and enabling your business to be fully elastic. Pay less when you reserve. For certain services like Amazon EC2 and Amazon RDS, you can invest in reserved capacity. With reserved instances, you can save up to 75% over equivalent on-demand capacity. Reserved instances are available in 3 options: all upfront, partial upfront, or no upfront payments. When you buy reserved instances, the larger the upfront payment, the greater the discount. To maximize your savings, you can pay all upfront and receive the largest discount. Partial upfront RIs offer lower discounts but give you the option to spend less upfront. Lastly, you can choose to spend nothing upfront and receive a smaller discount by allowing you to create more capital to spend in other projects. By using reserved capacity, your organization can minimize risks, more predictably manage budgets, and comply with policies that require longer-term commitments. With AWS, you can get volume-based discounts and realize important savings as your usage increases. For services such as S3 and data transfer out from EC2, pricing is tiered, meaning the more you use, the less you pay per gigabyte. In addition, data transfer in has no charge. As a result, as your AWS usage needs increase, you benefit from the economies of scale that allow you to increase adoption and keep costs under control. As your organization evolves, AWS also gives you options to acquire services that help you address your business needs. For example, AWS Storage Service Portfolio offers options to help you lower pricing based on how frequently you access data and the performance you need to retrieve it. To optimize your savings, choose the right combinations of storage solutions that help you reduce costs while preserving performance, security, and durability. AWS is constantly focused on reducing data center hardware costs, improving operational efficiencies, lowering power consumption, and generally lowering the cost of doing business. These optimizations and AWS's substantial and growing economies of scale result in passing savings back to you in the form of lower pricing. Since 2006, AWS has lowered pricing more than 60 times. AWS realizes that every customer has different needs. If none of AWS's pricing models work for your project, custom pricing is available for high-volume projects with unique requirements. To help new AWS customers get started in the cloud, AWS offers a free usage tier. If you are a new AWS customer, you can run an Amazon EC2 T2 micro instance for a year while also leveraging a free usage tier for Amazon S3, Amazon Elastic Block Store, Elastic Load Balancing, AWS Data Transfer, and other AWS services. AWS also offers a variety of services for no additional charge. Amazon VPC lets you provision a logically isolated section of the AWS cloud where you can launch AWS resources in the virtual network that you define. AWS Elastic Beanstalk is an even easier way for you to quickly deploy and manage applications in the AWS cloud. AWS CloudFormation gives developers and system administrators an easy way to create a collection of related AWS resources and provision them in an orderly and predictable fashion. AWS IAM controls your users' access to AWS services and resources. Auto-scaling automatically adds or removes Amazon EC2 instances according to the conditions you define. With auto-scaling, the number of Amazon EC2 instances you are using increases seamlessly during demand spikes to maintain performance and decreases automatically during demand lulls to minimize costs. Moreover, you can consolidate all your accounts using consolidated billing and get tiering benefits. Is there a way to estimate the cost savings from using AWS versus on-premises environment? The TCO calculator is a tool that has been developed to help you estimate cost savings when using AWS, use detailed sets of reports that can be used in executive presentations, and modify assumptions that best meet your needs. In addition, some benefits of the calculator include the ability of weighing the financial considerations of owning and operating a data center versus using a cloud infrastructure. Also, the TCO calculator explains the assumptions and the methodology behind the calculations. So, go take a look. You can launch the TCO calculator through https://awstcocalculator.com. We're going to introduce you to the AWS TCO calculator. As a start, take a look at the URL which you can access this particular tool from the internet. This tool has a basic as well as an advanced option. We're going to stick with the basic option for now. You can select the currency from a list you see in front of you, and I'm going to select the Singapore dollar. You can compare against on-premises or co-location. In our case, we will select on-premises. And in my region of choice, the Singapore region. And I'm going to be comparing against a general workload. I'll put in some fictitious app name, TCO demo, put 2 virtual machines in my comparison, each with 2 CPU cores and 32 gigs worth of memory. For the hypervisor, notice that I have a list which I can select from: VMware, KVM Zen, Hyper-V. As for the guest OS, Linux. Next up, I will specify 100 terabytes worth of raw storage capacity for my SAN storage. And with that, click on Calculate TCO. And now we have the results of the comparison between on-premises versus AWS. And as you can see here, you can save quite a bit of money over a 3-year period. We do a side-by-side comparison between on-premises and AWS. Your cost is color-coded for server, storage, network, and IT labor. And we have a table on the right that gives you the actual numbers over a 3-year period. Some environment details. Again, you will notice that we do a side-by-side comparison for on-premises versus AWS. In this case, we're looking at the compute resource, and I'm selecting the M4 2x large, which is the closest fit per the configuration I keyed in earlier on. And I'm going to be using the 3-year partial upfront reserve instance pricing. The table below, EC2 instance matching criteria, will start to make a lot more sense when I change the tool to take into account advanced requirements, whereby I'm going to optimize versus different criteria like CPU, RAM, storage I/O. Further down the list, I have a cost breakdown for compute, again, on-premises versus AWS, storage, and networking. Now notice for the AWS side of things, it's 0 because the AWS VPC service is offered at no charge to our customers. Now by clicking on the Calculations tab, we now have an even more detailed breakdown of server cost. Again, on the left-hand side is the on-premises cost versus what you do spend on the AWS side of things on the right. And we go into a lot more details, like things like server maintenance costs, the racks going to be used in your on-premises environment, rack infrastructure costs. We've included virtualization software costs because of the option that we have selected earlier, which is VMware. Now on the right-hand side, we have a lot more details breaking down the EC2 costs over a 3-year period, but now you have 2 numbers to compare against: on-demand versus reserve instances. And for reserve instances, we're using the 3-year partial upfront cost. Notice that we also include the AWS business support for these EC2 instances as well. Further down, we are also looking at on-premises storage costs versus that of AWS, and as well as the AWS business support cost for EBS volumes. Now notice that we also have included the backup cost comparison between on-premises and AWS. In the case of AWS, we're looking at the snapshot as well as incremental costs as you add more snapshots for backup purposes. And here you see the networking costs on on-premises environment. However, to complete the picture, we also include the cost breakdown for AWS support as well. Now, we can look at how we go about making those comparisons by selecting the Methodology tab. Under the Methodology section, we're looking at the acquisition costs and operational costs on on-premises environment, where we compare server, storage, network, and IT cost. Now, because some of you are actually using co-location environments, the cost structure is somewhat different, and hence that comparison you see. Finally, we have a comparison of AWS overheads side by side with on-premises environment. Right, this table you see in front of you, while we do include the AWS support costs, but that also includes services. And finally, as you can see here, we have a table that compares what you get by moving your workloads on AWS versus getting hardware on on-premises environment, which includes things like virtualization software, which is part of our service offering, but that's additional when you have to purchase it on-premises environment. Now this table here shows you the TCO calculation if we're comparing databases on-premises or co-location environments versus managing your own database running on EC2 instances, and finally versus running RDS, which is a managed service. If you have plans to move your Microsoft SharePoint workload on AWS, what you see here is the SharePoint architecture, which will be relevant had you selected a SharePoint workload as the workload of comparison at the start of this calculation. However, this is not complete if you do not know what are the assumptions made for cost comparison for on-premises, co-locations versus AWS. So in this list, we also include information like server costs from some of the well-known server vendors. We also include the host configurations, like for example, the number of CPU cores and system memory. We also include software as well as storage assumptions. Network is not an afterthought. You definitely have to include that. What is sometimes forgotten is power, cooling, and IT costs that's associated with managing on-premises environment. Here are the lists of AWS assumptions, be it from a cost of compute, the usage of databases, storage, and networking. And again, if you're moving your SharePoint onto AWS, here are some of the assumptions made as well. In this case, for SharePoint Server 2016. If you want to find out more about the TCO, right, you can always take a look at the FAQs, which list the most commonly asked questions about this tool. Most importantly, if you disagree with the assumptions made, you can modify them in this section, like, for example, the cost of hardware, storage, networking, licensing costs, and so forth. So that this calculation, this comparison, reflects your reality. This report can also be downloaded, and all you need to do is to fill in some of your personal information, and it will be emailed to you. Now, I'm going to show you some of the differences between the basic and the advanced options for this tool. By changing a selection from basic to advanced, you notice that there are additional fields that appear under the server section, like, for example, the percentage of the VM usage, what are you optimizing by, is it RAM, CPU, or storage I/O, and the kind of virtualization host you are using an on-premises environment. And another storage, you can define how much of the storage is infrequently accessed, the kind of maximum IOPS expected to be used by application, and amount of data that's going to be backed up each month. So you can have a far more comprehensive look at your usage. We also include the network cost option as well as the IT labor cost as well. This rounds up a much more complete TCO calculation comparison between AWS versus your on-premises environment. AWS wants to provide the right resources to support your success. So whether you are new or continuing to adopt our services and applications as your business solutions, we want to help you do amazing things with AWS. AWS support is there to provide you a unique combination of tools and expertise based on your current or future planned cases. With AWS, customers can plan, deploy, and optimize with confidence. If they need the support, AWS provides the tools and resources to guide them. If there's a user who would like proactive guidance, there are technical account managers or TAMs that are designated as their primary point of contact. The TAM can provide guidance, architectural review, and continuous ongoing communications to keep the user informed and prepared as they plan, deploy, and optimize their solutions. Your TAM is your advocate, your dedicated voice within AWS. For users who want to make sure they follow best practices to increase performance and fault tolerance in the AWS environment, there is AWS Trusted Advisor. AWS Trusted Advisor is like a customized cloud expert but actually is an online resource that checks for opportunities to reduce monthly expenditures and increase productivity. If there is ever a need for account assistance, the support concierge is a billing and account expert who will provide quick and efficient analysis on the issue, freeing up the user's time to run their business. The concierge addresses all non-technical billing and account-level inquiries. At AWS, you can plan, deploy, and optimize with confidence. To support you, there have been specific support plans developed. Let's take a look at Basic Support. Basic Support Plan offers 24/7 access to customer service, documentation, white papers, and support forums, access to 6 core trusted advisor checks, access to personal health dashboard. Next, we have developer support. The plan offers resources for customers testing or doing early development on AWS, and any customer who wants access to guidance and technical support are exploring how to quickly put AWS to work. Use AWS for non-production workload or applications. For customers having production workload on AWS, we recommend using business support as a minimum. The plan offers resources for customers running production workloads on AWS, and any customer who run one or more applications in production environment, have multiple services activated, or use key services extensively, depend on their business solutions to be available, scalable, and secure. Lastly, Enterprise Support Plan. The Enterprise Support Plan offers resources for customers running business and mission-critical workloads on AWS, and any customers who want to focus on proactive management to increase efficiency and availability, build and operate workloads following AWS best practices, use AWS expertise to support launches and migrations. For more information and to compare the AWS support plans, go to the URL for more details. While the number and types of services offered by AWS have increased dramatically, our philosophy on pricing has not changed. At the end of each month, you pay only for what you use, and you can start or stop using a product at any time. No long-term contracts are required. Pricing information for each service on our website is available at http://aws.amazon.com/pricing. Our strategy of pricing each service independently gives you tremendous flexibility to choose the services you need for each project and to pay only for what you use. As stated earlier, the TCO calculator is there to help you estimate cost savings when using AWS. Detailed reports are available for comparing the cost of running your workload on AWS versus on-premises. You can also modify assumptions used to best fit your business environment. The support plans visited today were Basic, Developer, Business, and Enterprise Support Plan. As discussed, all support plans provide 24/7 access to customer service, AWS documentation, white papers, and support forums, access to 6 core trusted advisor checks, and access to personal health dashboard. For additional technical support and support resources, we provide additional plans to fit your unique business needs. We have come to the end of Module 5. Test your knowledge with the following questions. Wrapping up today's course, we will look at what's next for you. The slide shows the current instructor-led training in the AWS Training and Certification Catalog. Classes are role-based and designed to be progressive as individuals gain deeper experience working with AWS services. The AWS Technical Essentials is our one-day foundational training on AWS services. Architecting on AWS is a 3-day course that teaches solutions architects to design and use AWS services for common IT applications. Developing on AWS is a 3-day course to help individuals design and build secure, reliable, and scalable AWS-based applications. Systems Operations on AWS is a 3-day course focused on guiding individuals operate highly available and scalable infrastructure on the AWS platform. Advanced Architecting on AWS is a 3-day course that covers building more complex solutions which incorporate data services, infrastructure configuration, management, and security on AWS. DevOps Engineering on AWS is a 3-day advanced level course that demonstrates how to use the most common DevOps patterns to develop, deploy, and maintain applications on AWS. Security Operations on AWS is a 3-day advanced level course that demonstrates how to efficiently use AWS security services to stay secure and compliant. Migrating to AWS is a 2-day ILT that demonstrates cloud migration strategies and dives into our recommended 5-phase plan for migrating existing workloads to the AWS cloud. Big Data on AWS is a 3-day specialty course that introduces you to cloud-based big data solutions and Amazon Elastic MapReduce, or EMR, the AWS Big Data platform. Data Warehousing on AWS is a 3-day specialty course designed to teach you how to design a cloud-based data warehousing solution using Amazon Redshift. AWS certifications validate technical skills and knowledge necessary for designing, deploying, and operating solutions on the AWS platform. Earning certifications helps you gain credibility for proven experience working with AWS and contributes to your organization's proficiency with AWS-based applications. If you refer to the various training courses mentioned previously, those courses will assist you in your certification exam preparation. Why AWS certified? To the individual, being certified helps validate their expertise on the AWS cloud, while for employers, it helps identify individuals with the relevant cloud skill set and also help accelerate their journey to the cloud. Beyond attending training classes, there are many paid and complementary resources to aid you in your certification exam preparations. Begin your journey using the URL given in the next slide, which is www.aws.training. Please go to amazon.quicklabs.com. Once you're on the amazon.quicklabs.com login page, please click on Join to create a new account. After creating an account, please click on Sign In and log into QuickLabs using your login credentials. After logging into QuickLabs, please click on the menu option and then you can click on Catalog. You will find a set of quests or labs to choose from. A quest contains a series of labs based on technologies or services. Some quests even help prepare you for certification. You can alternatively choose individual labs by clicking on Labs. Under Labs, You will find labs with a title, the level of complexity, and the time required to complete the lab. You will also find the cost of each lab. As you can see, there are some labs that are free. You can search for a lab on any AWS service available by using the search options. Search for Amazon S3 and you'll find that there are a few labs on Amazon S3, one of which is a free lab. Please start by reading the lab overview to make sure you are interested to proceed. If you would like to proceed, please click on Start Lab. Once the lab has been started, you can follow the remaining instructions. To log into the Management Console, click on Open Console. On the Management Console, you can verify your login and the region of the lab. Please switch back to the Quick Lab console to follow the remaining lab instructions. The lab starts with a list of topics covered. You start by creating a bucket, then upload an object. Make sure the right permissions are configured, and finally, enable versioning. First task is to create a bucket. Please follow the instructions on Quick Labs. On the Management Console, search for S3. You can then click on Create Bucket and enter a unique bucket name, such as lab-your name. If the bucket name is not available, please use additional characters for the bucket name. After you follow the remaining steps in the lab guide, you should be able to create a bucket in Task 2. You would upload an object, and then you would make the object public. After you complete the lab, please sign out from the Management Console, and on the Quick Lab screen, click on End Lab. Thank you for watching. This is the end of the Quick Lab demo. Please go to amazon.quicklabs.com. Once you're on the amazon.quicklabs.com login page, please click on Join to create a new account. After creating an account, please click on Sign In and log into Quick Labs using your login credentials. After logging into Quick Labs, please click on the menu option and then you can click on Catalog. You will find a set of quests or labs to choose from. A quest contains a series of labs based on technologies or services. Some quests even help prepare you for certification. You can alternatively choose individual labs by clicking on Labs. Under Labs, you will find labs with a title, the level of complexity, and the time required to complete the lab. You will also find the cost of each lab. As you can see, there are some labs that are free. You can search for a lab on any AWS service available by using the search options. Search for Amazon S3 and you'll find that there are a few labs on Amazon S3, one of which is a free lab. Please start by reading the lab overview to make sure you are interested to proceed. If you would like to proceed, please click on Start Lab. Once the lab has been started, you can follow the remaining instructions. To log into the Management Console, click on Open Console. On the Management Console, you can verify your login and the region of the lab. Please switch back to the Quick Lab console to follow the remaining lab instructions. The lab starts with a list of topics covered. You start by creating a bucket, then upload an object. Make sure the right permissions are configured, and finally, enable versioning. First task is to create a bucket. Please follow the instructions on Quick Labs. On the Management Console, search for S3. You can then click on Create Bucket and enter a unique bucket name, such as lab-your name. If the bucket name is not available, please use additional characters for the bucket name. After you follow the remaining steps in the lab guide, you should be able to create a bucket in Task 2. You would upload an object, and then you would make the object public. After you complete the lab, please sign out from the Management Console, and on the Quick Lab screen, click on End Lab. Thank you for watching. This is the end of the Quick Lab demo. To gain more confidence and hands-on experience with AWS, access the digital training built by AWS experts. To recap, you can attend our AWS Qualified Instructor-led classes to learn how to design, deploy, and operate highly available, cost-effective, and secure applications on AWS. Use practice exams to help you prepare for and validate your technical expertise with AWS certification. If you have watched all 5 modules, you will receive a certificate of attendance. Please look out for it after 1 week. We hope you found the conference interesting, and please take a moment to complete the feedback form. Let us know what you thought of today's event and how we can improve the event experience for you in the future.